we can now start with the next performance rockstar. It's going to be Chandresh Gupta presenting intelligence automations in performance management. So Chandresh Gupta has been working for large companies in the BFSI and retailer industries for EMEA and APAC regions. So he is pretty much focused on performance engineering, involving in DevOps with a lot of automation, CI/CD. And today he's going to talk about, especially with DevOps, we know that it's expect a lot of automation. With SRE is even worse. So here he's going to show us, talk about just the intelligence automation in the performance management. So without waiting anymore, I think it's now the time that Chandresh take the stage and present to us his insights about intelligent automations in performance management. So Chandresh, how are you?
Thanks, Henrik. So hello everyone. Hope you're marked safe in these difficult times of COVID-19. Having said this, excited to learn what I have for you. Then let's just get started with quick introduction. I'm an early starter and adopter of digital transformation era. I have always remained focused on bringing digital transformation by continuous upskilling, and innovation allows me to derive value to my clients by blending new age technology. So I'll start with those small sync that we are on the same page. Then I'll explain what is influencing in today's market for intelligent automation performance management. What is the digital transformation in traditional application performance management? Then I'll discuss the world of bots. Then I'll detail about what is voice ops and high-level solution. Let's then get sync so that we are on the same page. So what we have learned in our career is like DevOps or portmanteau of development or operation is a combination of practices and tools designed to increase an organization ability to deliver application and services faster than traditional software development processes. This speed enables organizations to better serve their customers and compete more effectively in the market. In simple terms, DevOps is about removing the barriers between traditionally siloed teams, development and operations. Under a DevOps model, development and operations teams work together across the entire software application lifecycle, from development and test to deployment to operations. And coming to the second is APM. So this is very well versed term in performance world. Yeah. So in the field of information technology and system management, application performance management is the monitoring and management of performance and ability of the software applications. APM strives to detect and diagnose complex application performance problems to maintain an expected level of service. APM is the translation of IT matters into business meaning. Traditionally, Gartner defined APM should possess below functionalities: in user experience, application topology discovery, user-defined transaction profiling, application component deep dive, IT operation analytics. Then we know that we are into the digital transformation era. So what is digital transformation? So digital transformation is the adoption of digital technology to transform services or businesses through replacing non-digital or manual processes with digital processes, or replacing older technology with new digital technology. So what are the pillars for this? So first is digital experience. With time, the customer experience has been growing. People are more attentive to customer experience than user experience. Then we have digital marketing and then digital strategy. What do we know now? So we know that in today's era, the rate of adoption of DevOps is increasing. Chip theft is a practice intended to find and prevent defects early in the software delivery process. Technology is evolving at much higher rates. The APM bridges the gap between the user experience and IT system performance. APM is the key to the performance engineering activities. Um, then we know that business must deliver the great experience to survive. Customers of today's customers is always looking for a new and better, and the customers have become global, mobile, and they are ever demanding. Having said this, let's review a user story. So you might have experienced the same in your environment, where environment are being migrated whether to adopt a new technology or are being migrated to the cloud. So over here, what scenario I'm detailing is that there was a marketing campaign was launched and started to draw heavy traffic. However, the traffic was on a different infrastructure. IT operations team proactively had the right strategy in place and moved the traffic to the new infra without impacting the customer. And marketing manager was happy, and he said that my conversion rate is stellar now. Thanks. So without getting impacted, the IT operations team managed to reduce the impact of the problem. So the actors and the users of APM have grown and have been relying and relating to the business matrices with IT messages. Revenue realization have increased. The executives want to know return that are getting by having heavy investment in IT stack. The speed has become as a feeling than a metric. So there are trends in the market right now. So what are the trends that are there? Customer experiences above all. Investments are in continuous innovation. The simplicity to the max. The application has to be simple to use. From the monolithic complex application, people are converting their applications to the microservices. Um, Businesses want to take decision on a fact based than a imaginative one. Um, the company culture has grown as more to collaborative and accountable. So, having said this all, like, what is the influence? So, we are experiencing the change, but what is the influence this change is bringing? So, their teams have become more harmonious. They have become more confident. Like earlier times, they were hardly few releases and maybe some 3 to 4 releases in a week in traditional times. Now, when businesses are adopting microservices, the businesses when they are adopting the microservices, the releases count have increased, and that's where the developer has to gain the confidence. So we have to optimize the customer experience, translate performance information into strategic business. Because the influence and the trend, we have a triangle approach. If there's a backdrop business, diagnose it, have a plan of attack, and then it's the ongoing management and monitoring. And can this ongoing management be intelligent? Yes. So with time, the layer of between the technology and business have become thinner. It used to be thinner with time forward. It is imperative for the business to bind their business processes with technology. Performance has always remained at on the heart of the businesses. So this is the what I see a typical view of intelligent automated performance management should look like. It should include predictive analytics, connect site performance to conversion and business outcomes. Should that be measured to impact on business? If there's impact, what was the impact on the conversion rate? What was the amendment rate on the checkout or cart? Then there should be a workbench for the data science. Also, like assets are increasing, especially in IoT era, the performance of those assets has to be managed. Real-time diagnostics solution with help of AI, then provisional of data and voice ops, and the mixture of synthetic monitoring and real user monitoring. To match up the current pace, the performance has to be speed up. To understand it, let me discuss a story about a Maven. So, who is this Maven? Maven has always lived in a secret, hiding in the shadows, alone in the world. Until now, he was just a system admin, and this is his story. He had planned, he wanted to change who he was, give his life to something new, something without the past, without the pain, something automated. As his admin, he was doing tasks assigned to him again and again, and it was boring. He missed being a creative guy, couldn't produce in IT world with this kind of profile with nothing to do new. So then his life changed with the DevOps. The automation came in. That's what he always wanted. And he was thanking God his life was saved. He had started automating the processes, all repeated tasks using automation framework. But still, he was triggering command. So DevOps is good, life-changing indeed. Everything is automated, readily available in framework, but still he has to log into the console or to execute those commands. Could he be more creative? Then the world come of those Slack, where people were stirring a revolution in the collaboration domain. But again, has to ask the bot to log in and execute automation. So what's the next level? Still sending commands to the bots. Can his voice be more powerful? We'll see in some due course of time. So before I move forward, let's revise some of the terminology that I will be using in future. Um, so what is AI? So AI, when a machine mimics cognitive functions, machine learning is ability to learn without explicit programming. A neural network is a programming paradigm inspired by biology that enables computer to learn from observation data. What is deep learning? Algorithms that learn complicated concepts by building them out of simpler ones. NLP, NLU, or NLG. These are the interaction between computers and humans using natural languages. So bot is an autonomous program on a network. A chatbot is a bot that uses human language to communicate. A chatbot that performs tasks or services for an individual. And then what is a skill? Skill is a capability that an AI assistant learns or obtains. Voice platform is a computer context that can be extended by the third party. Coming to the voice ops. So voice in the nutshell is a concept to execute automation over voice. So with voice ops, you make the search more fancier. You get immediate, precise, hassle-free answers to questions without about pre-fetched data. You have access to the data even when your laptop is not at arm's reach. It increases the effectiveness of incident response, and the best thing is it's for non-tech executive as well. So what are the challenges now? So the challenges that we face is the immediacy. Operations. Operators can have to three concurrent chats without affecting the performance. But again, the response has to be in less than 30 to 40 seconds. And many times when operations team is handling the chat, then they are confused. The customer can become frustrated because of the delayed response. Uh, Chats are forgetful, like chat session may lose context, and then there's the isolation. The benefits with the voice ops supports natural language. It's a one-to-one messaging. It's a two-way communication. Uh, about hybridization, once in the loop and fronted by bots. It's about making the life more fancier. So As the title of this slide says, bye-bye to boring tasks, hi to automated remediation action. Can I ask somebody as quickly as possible, like what is the application performance? You have a virtual assistant. Just today in today's time as well, people, if you want to fetch the IP address, they would need to go to the some Excel sheet or some IT management software where they will fetch the. Can I just ask and reduce the time? Like, what is the IP address of the machine of this machine? And executives in the meeting can just quickly check what was the last total revenue in the last 1 hour. Can the admin task be automated and can be executed just by the voice? Yes, there is a solution to it. The high level solution is that we have an NLP engine. So in today's time, the NLP engine um, is the, the top three are Alexa, Google Assistant, then Apple Siri. So these engines have things which communicate to the webhook or REST APIs, or it can be Lambda function if it's Alexa that talks to the backend application servers, or your current APM deployment, or it can be Google Analytics where clients are using it for digital experience. And so what happens is, like, what is the intent? Intent represents an action that fulfills a user spoken request. So you ask NLP engine a question in which it talks to the REST APIs or webhooks where it fetches the data from your backend, your application server. So this is also it. Let's come to the some demo now, and let's see how the look and feel is. So this is my Alexa test mode. So I'll ask my bot, I'll wake my bot with ask performance. So now the bot is awake. It, we get a formal greeting from him. Do you want, and it asks like, would you like to check the performance of your application? I'll say yes. Or other way to get this information would have, I would have just asked performance before. What is the, or I can ask like about my um, about my we get the response, we get to know the response time as quickly as possible without logging into any of the system. So not even any APM tools, neither a calling operations guy. I just know the what how my application is performing. Maybe let's come to the some business executive. He wants to know the revenue in the last 1 hour. I'll ask performance. So the revenue in last hour. So all this data is coming from my hosted demo application, which is hosted on Azure server. So now what I've done is like before, I have increased the heap utilization and by increasing some 5,000 threads, and I'll ask performance bot to restart the JVM. So, and then so basically, you might have got alert mail and you want to just restart the JVM. Now you don't have to log into the server and restart the JVM. You have automated script which is lying on the server. You can use the REST API to trigger that automated script. So what happens in the background is that you tell the NLP engine will have the list of intents, which is the actions that needs to be performed, or in layman terms, you can say a REST API that will be triggered, or in my case, I'm using a Lambda function, which is serverless computing. So a Lambda function is triggered and it goes to that automated script and just execute that on that server. So now that I have restarted the JVM, let me check the utilization. Performance here, or what? So that was a short demo and look and feel of how the things could be done more intelligently. Because in today's time, when the DevOps is ever changing, the speed of deployment, the speed has become as a feeling than a metrics. Everything has to be done and a snap of the stuff. So that was the short demo and understanding. So the takeaways uh, from my session is like uh, the industry is changing from sites to impact, from ideation to the realization. So though in early times there was an idea, they want to just not leave the idea as a tech debt. What they want is to implement and realize the revenue of it. Otherwise, that idea is not of use. The third takeaway is from a speed as a matrix to speed as a delay. So the things have been changed a lot, and at this time, we need to be at the seat. We have to buckle up and understand that that traditionally performance management was done manually by logging to some APM tool or Google Analytics to measure the delivered experience. So all this has to be done more intelligently. So this is one way of doing stuff. Earlier, the time was like we used to do testing as a service. Uh, Now everything is becoming more continuous. So things have been coming to testing as a code or monitor as a code. Now nobody wants to, I mean, at the current pace of the things that are being deployed. It's hard to maintain without automation. That's all. Thanks everybody for your time today.
All right, thank you, Chandresh, for your presentation. So I have a few questions more related to the demo that you just delivered. So my question was, I was more interested is because I have also had a chance to build a similar chat ops sort of app through Alexa development toolkit. And I was wondering, so do you have any recommended approach? Because basically Alexa, you send some text, you take advantage of the voice engine of Amazon, and then you can code whatever the flow you want, make some API calls or whatever. So I was interested to get your insights from your end. Do you have like a standard technology where you could sort of send your indicators or metrics that will be meaningful into like a time series database, and then you have and then Alexa will basically query that to get the answer? So for this, for me, was not clear. So I'd like to get your position on this. And my second questions would be more related to the fact that you mentioned voice ops or chat ops. So here using, you took the example of Alexa engine. There are other engine like you mentioned. And what would be if you want to provide this technology in Slack, what would be the journey to do so? So instead of, I think a voice is great, but I think now most of the companies around us use Slack or chat technologies. So maybe take advantage of the voice recognition, but use the chat sort of options than the voice. So I'd like to get more insights on this. So what's your opinion, Chandresh, and what is the technology for your demo?
So your first question was, so in Alexa, what internal storages we can connect to? So we can connect to the S3 storage. Then we can also use DynamoDB database. But having said this, the voice ops is all about pre-fetch data. So somewhere the data is already being stored in the matrices. It could be in APM tools, it could be any monitoring tools, or it can be, if it's a cloud, so even like suppose it's a Azure cloud, Azure cloud is storing in today's time. So in Azure cloud, they also have the monitor. In Azure, we have monitor. In AWS, we have CloudWatch. All these, both of them, they supply the APIs. So it's better to use those APIs instead of replicating the data. Just directly query the data into these existing sources and get the data in the real time. So for example, this is my one. So that's how I'm calling my hosted server through the one. So I'm using Node.js Node.js language, and I'm just querying and sending the REST APIs. So that's one. And your subsequent question was if you want to integrate with the Slack, for example. So Alexa does not have a brilliant, I would say, integration with Slack. Instead of, in such a case, I would recommend to go with Google Assistant. And it's like, it's powerful. I mean, Google Assistant also have a powerful AI and ML platform because Google Assistant is the widely used, and they have trained it so well because they have got our data. So they have used to train it to the Android. So Alexa is still ramping up. the echo devices are still in the market. But if you see the market size of the sample data, the quality data that they have used, so Google and Assistant is much more applicable in, and we have a direct integration connector between Slack and Google and Assistant.
So basically, if you rely on Google, you could easily translate your app that is sort of voice compatible to a chat more approach.
Yes. Basically, if you have a chatbot with you, yeah. So suppose a chatbot is in Slack, right? So there's a direct integration possible through Google Virtual Assistant.
Okay, it's good to know. So that's I thought that AWS had the similar stuff, but I didn't. So that's really useful information for me at least. So thanks for that.
Yeah, Alexa is widely available in US region, not not for the if. I mean, in the APAC, it has still not been launched. Like you can't build the custom skills. So I mean, Alexa is still growing, and the feature set that Google Assistant is providing is continuously evolving.
And so you mentioned the fact that you can query the API, which I fully agree. But I was more thinking on making like a sort of building one skills, sort of. It's not a skills, but that will query a system that will be central, and then you could have. So, for example, you mentioned CloudWatch or other things. So instead of querying directly those endpoints, querying a standard storage that will be there to receive any telemetry or indicators from other sources. So then you will have like a sort of a one skills that will query them all, sort of, and so it will be easier to maintain and make it more accessible to anyone. So that was I was thinking of this. Maybe it's more complicated. In fact, it's always more complicated in real life. But
Yeah.
you think that could be something that we could provide to the market in the future?
One challenge that I see that so suppose if we have a minute metric, so you would need to sync them so you know uh, so rapidly, like it has to be a hot sync. I mean, it just add more, I would say, more cost to the project, I would say, than reusing whatever. Because from this, even like, so today's time, everybody is, what is the ROI? I mean, and voice of this just being considered as a fancy item. That's not, I mean, it has not reached the level that it detects that it has the emotional intelligence in it. So it cannot bind the context with the emotions of the system. So when I say emotion is so something goes wrong, right? So if I talk about Alexa, Alexa can't call you, though you can trigger an alert, you can notify, you can't wake the Alexa by its own. So you have to query it. The Alexa. You have to make the Alexa way. So, for example, you are on some business trip, you are on road traveling somewhere, and the performance impacted. Alexa won't be able to call you and tell, uh, uh, what is the what's going wrong behind you, or it cannot. So if I have to restart the JVM, I have to tell Alexa to restart. It will not restart the JVM by its own because you have to wake the Alexa bot.
I got that. I got the point. Yeah, clearly. I mean, it's similar. I see Andy is connected, but he's not available. But Dan and Trace had this Davis AI, and you can interact with the voice or the chat, and it will do the remediation. So I think it's clearly something he needs to trigger actions. So it could be a third-party systems, but that will do the alerting and so on. So yeah, I got the idea. All right, so that was my main question. So Shami is I don't know if Shami is available, but I will unmute him in case he has questions. So Shami, do you have any questions for Chandresh?
I'm good. Thanks, Hendrik.
All right, so thanks so much, Chandresh, for your presentation. We will thank for the building the content and taking time to present it to our community. So thanks a lot.